We reached the part of the podcast going to be talking a little NFL Week 8. And who better than the man who life was basically never back down, that cinematic classic movie, my boy David, a.k.a. Better DP21. David, how you doing today, my man?
Doing great, man. Still reeling from the fact that I didn't get to watch Thursday Night Football because I had to take my girl out on a date last night.
Oh, lovely,
And
lovely.
yeah, just part of that cinematic, story that you're talking about.
Never back down, man. You remember that movie, dude? It was a martial arts movie, dude.
Oh, I know it.
You know what movie? This is really random. And I totally fell into it. You know what movie I watched last weekend?
What's that?
The cinematic classic Point Break.
Oh, hell yeah.
And there's that part when Utah and his partner, I forget his partner's name, but Busey,
hmm
are in the stakeout, and he's like, "There's that place around the corner that has meatball sandwiches. Get me two."
Yep.
And like Utah leaves, and Busey sticks his head out. He's like, "Utah, give me two."
Give me two.
With the win we got from the parlay that we hit with a touchdown plus 404 last week, I bought me a T-shirt that
I
just
know
said,
it.
"Utah, give me two.
Give me two.
Give me
I saw
two.
that.
Utah, give me two. Give
I
me
love
two."
that. I love that.
Those listening or watching for the first time, basically how it works is we each have two bets and we give a touchdown parlay. Last week, our touchdown parlay was Judkins and Trey McCormick for a nice plus 404 winner. We got one this week, a little bit more juicy. It's a plus 610 touchdown parlay, but we'll get that to a little later. Let's dive in. Let's see what David's first bet is.
Yeah, so looking at the board today, for the weekend ahead, basically starting off with the first half play here. Browns versus Patriots. Patriots at home, taking the Patriots first half minus 3.5. Getting really good value on this line. My model average has this at a minus 11 for the Patriots over the Browns in the first half, and it almost kind of goes true to how these teams have been playing. Patriots have won four straight, been winning and covering outright across the board. And, meanwhile, on the other side, you know, Cleveland just picked up a big win. We knew that was going to happen against Miami, though, just kind of seeing what was, coming forward for them. And we all bet on that last week. But, they've only they've only won that one game out of the last four games for themselves. So not in good form, for the Browns, getting really good edge in terms of the number, in terms of the line here. And, when I kind of look at this from a overall rushing defense, I mean, both these teams have really good rushing defenses. The Browns actually have a number one rushing defense in the league, believe it or not. Patriots are number six. According, and these are all DeVoe rankings where where I'm pulling these numbers, of course. So, but where they separate is obviously the passing offense, right? Patriots been throwing the ball all over the field, finding Diggs, what is his name, Booty, other people like that across Booty. Yeah, and so they're going to have an edge here because the passing defense for the Browns not great, middle of the pack, number 16. So they're definitely going to have an edge in terms of that pass game, and I can definitely see them utilizing their backfield in that same situation for themselves. So, in terms of the actual passing offense and rushing offense for the Browns, it's last. I mean, it is second or third to last in the league in both categories. So, not much offense able to be produced here for the Browns. I really see Patriots defense having an edge, especially on the rushing side of the ball, and just having a better edge at home with even a passing offense in better form, having a better edge. I mean, we're talking about close to an 8-point average differential against this book line. That is one of the highest differentials I've given out all year in terms of, when I'm looking at these numbers for myself. So, really like how all this is stacking up in favor of the Patriots for that first half bet, minus 3.5. Really good line. When I'm looking at, the full game for ourselves, that line's upwards of -7. I like to stay away from those, higher, numbers where I can. So that's why I played this side of, the half compared to the full game, even though we still get a really good edge for the full game as well. because that number doubles as well for, again, winning by double-digit points over the Browns, according to my model. So seeing a better edge here for the first half, want to knock it out early, get out on the board early with a good cash, and, take advantage of this big differential that I'm seeing. So take Patriots minus 3.5 for the first half.
It comes down to you trust Dylan Gabriel, who attempted 40 passes and not one traveled over 10 yards against a Vrabel defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
everything as a simplistic way of saying it.
Everything you said was great, and I counter with that. No, it's just the Browns got some issues. I mean, I don't think Gabriel's the guy. If they had a better quarterback, I'd maybe be interested in him, but it's really hard for me to trust with Billy Gabriel. My next bet, and I'm going back to my roots. Give me the Steelers plus 3.5. Anyone that knows me knows what we're doing here. Tomlin as a dog. 65.3% ATS, 26.5% ROI, getting 3 or more points, 65.6% against the number, 25.7% ROI. As a home dog, 21-7-3. That's 75% with a 41.2% ROI. Off a loss, 59.7% ATS, 17.1% ROI. As a dog off a loss, 61.9% ATS, 21.2% ROI. All these trends point one way. Tomlin gets his teams ready. Now, after they allowed 28 points or more, the Steelers are 40-16-2 ATS, 70% under Tomlin, which is absurd. And they allowed more than 28 points last week. Now let's look at Green Bay. Do we really trust this offense? They've only scored over 27 points once this season. That was against the Cowboys. They struggled to get anything going. And we look at the blitz. Steelers like to blitz at the third highest rate in the league. For 40 qualified quarterbacks per Summer Sports, Jordan Love ranks 31st in completion percentage. Steelers on extra rest. Also, Packers' recent form, a little rough. Look at their last 4 games. Lost to the Browns, tied the Cowboys, barely beat a Bengals team led by Joe Flacco, who just literally got there. Needed a last-second touchdown to beat the Arizona Cardinals, who are starting Jacoby Brissett. On top of that, Green Bay rarely blitzes, 4th lowest rate in the league, which will give Rodgers time to pick apart their zone. And per PFF, guess who is one of the best quarterbacks against zone coverage? You guessed it, Aaron Rodgers. Everything lines up for a Steelers bounce back at home. We're getting 3 in the hook with elite Tomlin trends behind us. Too good to pass up. And I'll give everyone a bonus bet on the look-ahead lines for next week. Steelers are getting 2.5 at home against the Colts. So, on the look-ahead stuff, if you think the Steelers are going to get it done here, let's try to get it out ahead of the 8 ball. So I'll take the Steelers here this week, plus 3.5. Next one, my friend.
Yeah, so for anybody who always wonders, whether or not, how much of a homer I am with my bets and, how I'm playing things, please understand I follow the numbers and this is how I bet. So I am looking at Carolina plus 7.5 against my Bills. And that being said, there's a lot of things here, right? I mean, let's just look at the matchup, for a second. And, the Bills are going to be the popular side here, right? Coming off of a bye week, strong offense versus the Panthers. Public tickets are skewing the Bills, right? And this is heavily backed in the spreads. They open, when the line movement happened, right? Bills open smaller in some shops, moved to 7, everything else. But now health situational news is obviously Bryce Young expected to miss week 8, down to Dalton to start. That changes the on-field expectation, and basically what does that mean? Panthers are going to lean to the run, right? And I think everybody knows that. So the market is pushing the Bills bigger because the Panthers are down to the QB. That's large. It's logical, but, historically Dalton manages a game. Panthers run defense, is not terrible. They're number 3 in the league in terms of rushing defense. And the Bills rushing defense is number 32. We're dead last. there's a lot of things here in terms of an overreaction, in my opinion, that is pushing the Bills bigger, right? And so if you think, the Bills spread is oversized because the teams keep backing those blowout expectations versus anyone starting a veteran backup, then I think that's the edge, right? You're getting great value. You're getting a solid number of more than a touchdown to win with this. So, it's a value pick on the Panthers here. A Dalton managed game plus a run heavy game plan can keep it within a one score window. And especially the way that, when you look at the form of these teams, throw out the numbers for a second. The Bills have lost two of their last, 3 games before the bye. Carolina's ripped off 3 of their last straight wins, and a lot of that's come down to the running game for themselves. So they have figured that out, and I don't care who's behind QB in that sense. My model is actually showing this more as a pick 'em game. So I really like, them getting a full score touchdown to their advantage. The rushing offense for the Panthers is in the top 10, number 7 overall. Again, against a rushing defense for the Bills that's dead last in the league, right? And then meanwhile, on the other side, Bills rushing offense, obviously really good, number 2 in the league, but going against a really good defense. And I put a lot of value on defense in that regard. So, and again, we have a really good passing offense too. So that is where the Bills are going to find their edge. They shouldn't really find it so much on the ground, but they should find it through the air. Passing defense for the Panthers, number 23. But it's also really close to the Bills, right? Bills are number 21. So, I don't expect Dalton to air anything out, with anybody, that they're going to have running out there. But again, you're getting a full almost 8 points that, more than one score, more than one touchdown for that matter, for the Bills to cover. And I really think Carolina can keep it close here. My model's showing this more as a pick 'em. And, for all those reasons, just kind of looking at that, I mean, also the smart move is always just kind of telling you, anywhere that you're ever seeing, games where public money, public percent is like 70% on one side with money percent significantly lower. Those are the prime spots to fade the public. That is this game. There is 83% of the tickets of the spread on Buffalo and 62% of that money on Buffalo. So, there's a big handle, for, the book to have, just liability on that side of the house, and everything says fade this number. So that is where I'm going. I think it just makes all the logical sense in the world that they'll keep it within a score, and they have a potential to win at home with this one as well.
And I mean, I think that a couple of key things that you hit on is I was looking at it online right now because I'm going to place it. Some places I've already dropped it to 7. So
right.
People are betting it, but the number is moving. So that's a sign.
I just moved the number again. Awesome. 2 weeks in a row, man.
He's just moving numbers. Moving numbers, dude. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it when you list these things. Dude, we're moving numbers, man. No, you're not. No, you're fucking not. I lost my train.
But no, to your point, I was seeing books at +7 for even money, for plus 100. And you're getting a full score. I mean, it's a great spot. Go ahead and finish your thought on that. I'm sorry.
And the one thing that the Panthers do, and I love the coach for this, because to me, this is some of the basic shit that I wish more coaches were doing. He just runs the same play over and over and over and over and over again
until you stop it. Yeah.
And it's just basic shit. But with Bryce Young as your quarterback, who I know he's not starting the Red Rifle, so I think helps a little bit. That's what you have to do. You just have to keep doing basic shit to give him success. I absolutely love this play. I locked this one in too myself. And my play is in this game. I'm going to your boy, Dalton Kincaid, over 36.5 yards receiving. He missed the game 2 weeks ago because of injury. He's been limited in practice this week, but everything I've seen points to him suiting up. And if he's on the field, I'm taking this number. Kincaid, quietly, one of the most efficient tight end seasons in history. He's averaging 12 yards per target. That's number 1 among all tight ends. catching 83% of his targets, which ranked third at his position. He's gone over this number in 4 or 5 games, averaging 4.8 targets, 4 catches, and 57.4 yards per game. Leads the Bills in receiving yards and is third in both targets and receptions. Now, this matchup sets up perfectly for Carolina's defense, who has been shredded by tight ends. They're giving up the 4th most receiving yards per game to the position, 11.9 yards per reception, which is the highest in the league, and opponents are catching these passes at an 80% clip. And here's the kicker. Per Summer Sports, against zone coverage with the Panthers run nearly 80% of the time, Kincaid's been elite. 15 targets, 14 catches, 93% catch rate, 180 yards, 12.9 catches per receptions, and 3 touchdowns. Carolina is 32nd DVOA defending the tight ends. Rosenboom has a coverage grade of 40.7 per PFF, 64 of 72. So if Carolina stays in their usual zone-heavy looks, I expect Allen to find Kincaid plenty underneath and over the middle. I'll take Dalton Kincaid over 36.5 receiving yards. And also, do you know what Sunday is, my friend? Do you know what Sunday is?
Is it National Tight End Day?
It is fucking National Tight End Day, dude. So my fucking prop is going to be a tight end, and I could not do Mason Taylor again. So I am going to take Dalton Kincaid over 36.5 receiving yards. Now, let's go to our touchdown parlay, and I apologize. I was going to put together a little chimey video of it and everything, but I fucked up. I didn't do it. It's been a hellish week, dude. Hellish week. Let's jump into our tight end. Last week, we hit a plus 404 touchdown parlay. This week, we have a plus 610er. Tell us who you like, my friend.
Yeah, so I'm going right back to the same game. As I already just kind of touched on quite a bit, with just exploiting the Bills' rushing defense. Now, obviously coming off the bye, I hope they short some things up just from a personal perspective. But, when I look at the numbers and what they're telling me, dead last rushing game here. And Carolina has certainly, leaned on Rico Dowdle so much more in this Carolina offense, especially over these last 3 games. Had a very strong, significant role. He's averaging close to 23 touches a game, in his last 3 games. And he just put up, 80 rushing yards in what I would call a backup role to Chuba coming back. And, and that was against the number 4 overall ranked rushing defense in the Jets last week. So, you put up significant yardage, and it basically, the team looks prepared to turn the backfield over to him fully at this point. Just as you're kind of watching game script and where they're going and everything. And the Bills defense, has allowed the 2nd most fantasy points, to running backs this whole season. So I definitely think, from just an overall perspective of touches, I'm definitely putting my odds in the hands of someone who's going to get that significant touch to be around the goal line, and give me Rico Dowdle to be that guy, for this backfield.
I like it, dude. For my thing, it's National Tight Ends Week, so I have to go with the tight end. So I'm going to take Jake Ferguson. He's 4th in the league in red zone targets, 6th in the league in targets inside the 10-yard line. He gets 28.8% of the Cowboys' red zone targets, 31.6% of the targets inside the 10-yard line. Still scored last week with return of Lamb, and with Lamb returning, I feel that opens stuff up more for him in the middle, especially with how good the Broncos have been defending the wide receiver. This is going to open up the middle of the field. Broncos have allowed a touchdown to a tight end in 2 of their last 3 games. Historically speaking, the Van Joseph defense has struggled against the tight end position. So I'm going to take Fergalicious, dude. Give me Jake Ferguson. So we got Rico Dowdle and Jake Fergalicious Ferguson as our touchdown parlay at plus 610. David, before I let you go get out of here, quick 90-second thought on what is happening in the NBA with the game.
Oof, gosh, I mean, when I saw the news on this yesterday and just kind of hearing some of the sound bites throughout even today from the FBI director and everything else, I mean, not surprised, I guess is the right way to say it. We all know at some point, somewhere when sports was blending in, the advertising of sports betting, everything else. And this is long before even all of that, But I mean, we all could probably make some assumptions in knowing, somebody's getting paid somewhere, some refs. So it's not a complete shocker to me, just knowing the industry, knowing the game, knowing how many games are being played, and just I don't know, you kind of start looking. Yeah, I saw this clip come out from Terry Rozier in a game, and it just screamed like, embellishment of, being paid off, and throwing games and rigging things and blah blah blah. So yeah, I'm not surprised, but also man, it sucks, right? Like it's such a bad look on so many levels. You want to hope that there's, purity in every game that is out there and everything else like that. But at the same time, it's I don't know. I think it's maybe just to be expected to happen, to come to light in certain instances, and this is one of them.
If you want my thoughts, you're going to have to rewind to earlier in the podcast. I'm not going to share it here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, tune into the podcast because I go on a big rant about this. David, I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking a little NFL. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media? And how was the pumpkin patch? I forgot to ask. I apologize.
Yeah, that was actually really great. So here's the kicker, actually. When I tried to go into that, I did not read. Apparently, there's a bunch of signage that said, don't bring in alcohol, don't bring in whatever, right? And if you do, they'll confiscate it. Well, I wasn't hiding it. It was in my bag. But here's the thing. I brought in a Japanese Blanton's bottle of bourbon, right? This is not a cheap bottle. And I was bringing it because I was thinking of my dad and my brother-in-law to make sure, hey, I know they haven't tasted this bottle. Let's get, we're sitting around a campfire singing Kumbaya, like I mentioned. Let's have a drink of bourbon, that's smooth and enjoyable and just chill and keep us warm, right? Anyway, this director of security takes my bag, right? And so instead of when they took it, first they're like, "Oh, is that non-alcoholic?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's non-alcoholic," right? Like, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden they look at everything else. And I had multiple bottles, bottle of wine for my girl.
Yeah.
I wasn't hiding nothing. And so in that moment, I'm like, can I just take it back to the car? Like, can I just do that? And then they're like, no, by law, we have to confiscate. I'm like, it's right there. Like, I'm just going to take it back to the car and you can let me in. You can search me, bring your sniff dog, whatever. Right. Like, but anyway, they wanted to take it. So next thing you know, I'm having to do like mission impossible of getting my bag back. Right. I basically convinced them not to throw it out because I know when they looked in, they saw that bottle. I know they wanted to take it for themselves. There's no question. Right. And everything else that I had in there. And so I was feeling defeated for like the first 30 minutes of this thing. Then I got bold and I went back and got my bag and I went up to the only man that was standing there. Old Man River was standing there guarding my bag. And he goes, "I'm going to leave it here. If you leave, we're not going to know." And so then I skirted the system. I went ahead and grabbed the bag, got it back to the car with my dad. We took shots before we went back into the place. And yeah, so it was a great time. But man, there was definitely some Mission Impossible drama, in terms of just walking in with that. I guess I should have just read things better. I don't know.
Yeah, I know reading can be tough. Dude. Reading, but you know what, dude? It was a big day. A girl meeting,
a big day,
going to the pumpkin patch.
Right.
I mean, dude, a lot of activities, dude. But I guess we now know who's the guy that brings alcohol to a pumpkin patch. It's David.
Me, right? Family function all day.
Speaking of this, I'll let you go. This is really random. Did you ever watch the show Life in Pieces?
No.
One episode is how they're trying to sneak alcohol into the ice capades.
Okay.
And so they had a bra that they pumped in alcohol, but it wouldn't fit the mom anymore. Okay.
Okay.
So then the dad wears the bra with the alcohol into the fucking ice capades. It was fucking hilarious, dude. It was
That's
so
awesome.
That somehow like the contraption busts, so it looks like he's lactating.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was hilarious, dude. Hilarious. Life in Pieces, good show. Check it out, guys. Check it out, David. This man and I will be back next week.
Yep.
Good luck in your bets, man, and we'll talk soon.
Cash. Thank you.